Chapter 25 Variable in Python. Variables are used to store information. Storing information is useful when you want to reuse the information many times or use it at different times while running a program. They save you from entering the same block of code over and over. In Python, the basic data types that can be stored by variable include data type, the kind of value of data is strings, integers, list, boolean value. Variable can store value, content, or data like a string, number, list, or boolean. List, an ordered sequence of value. String, a data type that represents text. Boolean, a data type that represents their true or false using variables. To assign a value to a variable, use this format. Identifier equal value. The identifier is the name of a variable. For example, in a game where the player gets 3 lives, for could name a variable lives and assign in a value of 3. Value, lives, identifier, value. In Python, the equal sign means is assigned to. Read lives equal 3, and 3 is assigned to lives. After creating the variable and assigning it the value of 3, you can reuse the lives variable throughout the program. Rules for naming Python variables. When coming up with a variable identifier or name, you must follow these rules. Use numbers, uppercase letters, lowercase letters, and underscores. Start identifier with a letter. Keep your identifier short and simple, and have it describe the variable it's used for. When coming up with a variable identifier or name, do not do this. Include space or symbols like dash, slash, and that. Use keywords that already mean something else in Python like print. Use the capital letter 0 or I or lower case L because those can get confusing. A capital 0 looks like the number 0. Start your variable with your number or symbol. Keywords. This is bad. Keywords in Python are allowed as identifier names. And as a start break class continue, def del, leave, else, except, exact. Finally, for from global if import in is lambda, not or, pass, print, raise, return, try, while, read, yield. And naming a variable, try to describe what it is. For example, when you could name a variable for storing the number of lives a player has J, you might forget what J means after you add in many more variables. But if you name the variable lives, you will remember that the variable stores the number of lives for the player. Also, keep variable names short. Longer names lead to more types, more default, and waste time typing out extra characters. For example, although variable called the number of lives of the player has left describe the data is stored, it's better to shorten it to just lives. Formatting variable names. Programmers often use naming conventions to make their code easier to read. A naming convention is a format for naming things like variables. Python will run correctly no matter what naming convention you pick. However, it's best to stick to one way in order to make your code easier to read. Common naming conventions include description, example, single lower case letter X, single uppercase X, large X, all lowercase, treasure, lowercase and underscores, X underscore position, all uppercase, captain. For Python, many people prefer to use lowercase and underscore and naming variables, upperscore and underscores. Capitalized word, Pascal case, Jolly Roger. Capitalize the first letter of every word in the name. Mixed case, camel case, buried treasure. Capitalize only the first letter of the second word in a name. Think of it like a camel's hump in the middle of the name. Capitalized words is underscore.